The five-time winner of the Solomon Award for Excellence in Australian Architecture, Harry Seidler was the great disruptor of Australian mid-century architecture, pioneering modernism and internationalist design. Born to an Austrian Jewish family, Seidler and family fled to England, escaping persecution from the growing Nazi regime in 1938. It was here where Seidler first began studying construction and building design before being interned on the suspicion of being an enemy alien. Granted probational release to Canada, Seidler studied architecture and graduated with first-class honours from the University of Manitoba. Upon arriving in Australia, Seidler described the Sydney architecture scene as a deadly and dull sea of red brick and tile. Building on his experience from studying under the Bauhaus masters Gropius, Brewer, and the father of international style, Oscar Niemeyer, Seidler designed the modernist masterpiece for his mother, Rose, with the house bearing her name. Seidler's design was an immediate success and the most talked about house in Sydney, earning him the title of the High Priest of Australian architecture. Completed in 1950, the Rose Seidler House encapsulates internationalist style where function follows form. Seidler's pronounced presentation of the house's raw structural elements, concrete, stone, timber and glass, obeys the modernist mantra of function, simplicity, and innovation. Clear comparison can be drawn between Seidler's design and the renowned international styles of Villa Savoye by Le Corbusier or Van der Rohe's Farnsworth House. All of these buildings exhibit the merit of the Vitruvian architectural virtues of commodity, firmness, and delight. The house is composed of simple geometric shapes that form the basis of the floor plan. The reinforced load-bearing walls allow for an expansive open-plan living space that, to use Seidler's own words, create a continuum of freestanding planes through which the eye can never see an end. The minimalist geometric forms in the windows, doors, and cladding mimic the forms of the Cubist and de Stijl art movements, hinting the works of Mondrian and Dosberg. These window arrangements expand on the symbolism of the golden ratio, a natural repeating sequence of structures that Seidler uses to increase the connection between the interior and the exterior in an otherwise modern and potentially disconnected building, linking the man-made, the modern, and the natural. Seidler's use of reinforced concrete and steel pole foundations allowed for sweeping cantilevers and building techniques that were previously unknown to suburban Australian architecture. These structural innovations allowed Seidler to conquer many steep and exposed rocky sites in close proximity to untamed natural locations, such as the Wahroonga site, which allowed for expansive views of the bordering Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park through the large and numerous windows in the house. Seidler fell in love with the forms and ruggedness of the Australian bush, and is rumoured to have taken inspiration from the bordering eucalyptus trees at the house site, employing these features in his later designs. Seidler admired the linear forms and functionality of the tree's structure that allowed them to conquer the poor and demanding conditions of the Australian landscape, forms that he himself employed in the construction of roadside the house, with the structural elements necessary for construction being championed rather than hidden behind facade. The original residents for whom the house was designed and named, Max and Rose Seidler, commented on the sense of charm that was awarded from the sun-filled living areas with full-length windows that allowed for views of the beautiful natural landscape. You'd wake up to views of gum trees and magpies, Rose Seidler quoted. The higher degree of glazing allowed for light to flood the house through the internal terrace, to which was decorated with the Seidler original Brazilian-inspired mural. The extensive use of glass in the building and its innovative design can perhaps be traced back to Seidler's internment during World War II, in which he dreamt of freedom and natural scenery. Perhaps this was the origin of his healthy disregard for stupid laws and norms. Seidler designed an ambitious house for an ambitious young country. The Rose Seidler House is a pure and unadulterated example of internationalist architecture, showcasing design theory that continues to influence countless Australian designs to this day. Added to the New South Wales State Registry on the 2nd of April 1999, Rose Seidler House exhibits unparalleled cultural history and the creative and technical achievement of one of Australia's most profound and celebrated architects.